Good morning and happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded. For those of you that might be new here, what we typically do is go over crypto news and news in general in the space. I update myself. I'll bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's in the house. Mr. Son of a Rabbit, good to see you, buddy. Andrew Masad. We got Leo Lustig, Steven Cicero. Good morning, sir. Carl Coate. Triple Nickel Technologies, what's up, man? Dom G, Adam Williams, Savage White Hero, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Everybody else I may have missed, I apologize. Let's get into this. We have Bitcoin 64,443 bucks. Look at that. Ethereum 26.29. Market looks fantastic this morning. Near Protocol is actually up $5.53, or up to $5.53 rather. 5.21%. Crazy. Solana 152 bucks. We get XRP at just under 59 cents actually. ADA's at 39 cents. LTC's at 67.74. Look at that. Not too bad. ICP is at $9.22 if anybody cares. Caspa under 16.5 cents actually. It's 16.2. Good buying opportunity in my opinion. I bought some more yesterday actually. ETC's over 20 bucks. Hell yeah. Perfect. Look at that. Surprising actually. I really hope ETC starts making a nice comeback for us miners. Dogecoin, look at this, 11.5 cents just about. Duke and Dogecoin as well. Shiba's up 15% today. Pepe's up 8%, 8.5% to be exact. Man, everything's looking really good. Hell yeah. BNB's at 596 bucks. Damn, if anybody's wondering about that. All right, over here on Crypto Bubbles, biggest earner of the day seems to be WorldCoin, 16.8%. Look at that, $2.14. Nice. Anybody have WorldCoin? Is anybody holding that? Let me know in the chat. Dynex is pumping too. Really interesting. I'll check that out in a minute. Shiba 13.9% up again today. We have WIF 13% today, $2.24. Man, I am so ready for this bull run. I cannot wait. I think after the election it's gonna be a straight Hadouken. right to the moon with everything. It's gonna be perfect. We have Stark over here. Let's see. StarkNet 49 cents, up 15% today. Again, Pepe is up 8.6. Rune 13.2. Injective 8.5 on the day. $23.25. Crazy, man. It looks awesome. All right, flashbang. Let's see what we got over here. Fear and Greed Index. Oh damn, right in the middle, dead even 50. Look at that. Perfect. To be honest, this is where we want to be. This is where we want to be going into October, or Uptober we'll call it, right? All right, let's see over here. CoinGecko, top 10 coins by coin market cap. We got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, USDC, XRP, Lido Staked Ether, Dogecoin, and Toncoin in 10th place at a $14.7 billion market cap. We got Cardano trailing slowly behind it at a $14 billion market cap. Hell yeah. Cardano, get back into 10th, please. Perfect. I think Cardano deserves 10th place. That's just my opinion. That is just my opinion. Cardano definitely earns that spot, or has earned that spot. All right, Litecoin in 25th place. Let's see, where's Near Protocol in 21st place at a $6 billion market cap. Damn, Near's doing pretty good. Caspa 32nd place over here. It's within the top 40 coins now, right? We have a $4 billion market cap still. It's the only one going down. Everything else is pumping. What in the hell is going on there? All right, let's see. Dynex, somebody said Dynex is pumping. Gotta look. 13.57%. Hell yeah. 43 cents. Nice. That's looking really good actually. Hell yeah. Holy shit. Look at that. September 22nd, it was only 30 cents. The 19th was 31. Yeah, it's been having a run up. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Where were we? 33 over on my birthday on the 13th. Let's see. Yeah, that's crazy. Damn, that's the last time I got some. Nice, dude. It's up 10 cents from then. That's awesome. Dynex is doing pretty good. How's everything else doing? Let's check out Lithium quick. $1.66. Could be worse. Could be worse. 24 hours. Having a little bit of a Lithium's having a struggle. It's having a struggle. People are trying to get their money back, and I totally understand it. Right? I get it. Definitely get it. Let's see what other coins. RXD Radiant. Let's see. Oh, Radiant's down 2.6%. What's going on there? They ship those RX zeros yet? Not sure. All right, let's move on to the mining segment of things. You guys know I like to timestamp these ASIC miners. See what we got over here. We got the AL1 Pro 16.6 terahash unit, $64.92 a day. Let me just refresh this, make sure. Yep, $64.92. Bruh. These things are going down by the second. It's crazy. The AL1 15.6 terahash unit making $61 a day. Jeez, it's crazy, dude. Remember when this thing was $1,100? It was projected $1,100 a day. Insane. The AL3 Ice River. If you guys are shopping for any Ice Rivers, code CHUMP gets you 2.5% off your order. Actually, they dropped a bunch of new stuff yesterday, which is kind of crazy. Check out the Twitter posts and stuff. But the AL3 over here, 15 terahash unit, $58.35 a day. We got the Dragon Ball Miner A11 3.2 terahash unit over here, mining Radiant, $19.38 a day. Crazy. The Antminer L9, we got this is the 17 gigahash unit over here, making $15.97, and the 16 gigahash unit makes $15.03. Pretty nice, pretty nice. The L9 is probably going to be one of those machines that just lasts through the next bull and bear cycle, to be honest. The AL2 Lite, this is what they dropped yesterday, actually, right here. 2 terahash unit, 500 watts, mining lithium, $7.70 a day. I think they dropped the AL1. No, sorry. Was it the KS2 Lite? Is that what they did? Is that what they dropped? Is it on this list? Ah, it is here. There it is. I was right. The KS2 Lite. That's what the one it was. 2 terahash unit. They dropped $1.13 a day. Bruh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the Caspa miners right now. I would just buy the Caspa. To be honest, I think you'll make better gains. But to each his own. Do what you want. Let's see the AL box. The original 3060 over here. $1.17 a day. That's crazy. A lithium AL0 400 gigahash at 100 watts. They get $1.54 a day. That's still pretty good. Again, this is after 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Let's see. IB-Link BM S3. What in the hell is this? 19 terahash unit. Mine Sia coin. Is this wrong again? Is it like every time I see a Sia coin ASIC listed, I feel like it's not right, but whatever. $1.80 seems like it could be right. Let's see the AL Blocks 2 Plus 1 terahash unit over here, 480 watts, $3.30 a day. Looking pretty good. AL2 Pro 950 gigahashes, $3.12 a day. 20 extra watts for 50 more gigahashes. Crazy. All right, so let's look. Where's the L7? L7, where are you? Where are you? My L7 9050. You guys know I got this thing down at Terra Hosting. Shout out to them if you're interested in hosting. Links in the description. We got $4.84 a day. Honestly, I love this machine. I absolutely love my L7. It's been killing it. And shout out to Musk Miners. They're the ones that actually sent me that a couple years back. Pretty awesome. All right, I'm gonna move on. I'm just gonna move on because we got a lot of stuff I want to watch today, and I started really late, so I apologize for that. All right, let's refresh this. Looks like that Aleo coin, or Aloe coin, or however you're supposed to say it, is still the top of the charts over here on the 4090. Actually, all the 40 series cards. Carlson, Pyron as well, dual mining. We got Abel on the 170HX, Xano on the 7900 XT and the XTX. Nice. Chlor on the 6800 XT. How's Chlor looking? Let's see. Chlor. How is Chlor looking? It is up 0.2%, I guess. Looking pretty decent. Damn, I should have bought in yesterday when I said I wanted to. But I wish they were on Tangem. Can we please get Chlor on Tangem? I'm gonna have to go talk to them. I'm gonna ask them. Why not? Chlor actually has a real platform, so like what the hell? Why not? I think that's it, man. That's the consensus all the way down the board. All the way across the board. All right, flashbang. Lithium's network hash rate. Let's see. Oh, we're at a 10.62. Look at that, or a 10.65. Looks like they did shut off some machines. The shit peaked at 19 the other day. That's crazy. Yeah, they're definitely shipping more of them AL1s and the AL3, or whatever the hell it is from Ice River. The AL3? Yeah, the AL3. This one. Definitely ship more of those. All right, let's move on to the news segment of things. I want to get into all this. We have a bunch of stuff I want to watch today. What stocks do in the next month is a coin flip due to the election, says Fund Strats Tom Lee over here on CNBC television. Let's do it, guys. That like button.
It does take us to our talk of the tape. How much more can stocks rise? Let's ask Tom Lee. He's FundStrat's head of research and CNBC contributor, live with us once again at Post 9. Nice to see you.
Great to see you, Scott.
You know, since the Fed did their jumbo cut, the market really hasn't done all that much except for one day last Thursday. Why?
Well, you know, I think the Fed unleashed us on an easing cycle, and that's going to be positive. We know it's actually historically positive 3 months, 6 months out. But what stocks do in the next month is a bit of a coin flip, and I think that's what we're seeing because there's some repositioning that took place. And also we're now thinking about the 40 days into the election.
So does the fact that the election is but 40 days away sort of ruin the perfect scenario for stocks to get that post-Fed bump?
I think it delays it, just because, you know, in the conferences that I've been speaking at and seeing wealth managers and family offices, a lot don't want to commit capital until after Election Day. And I don't think it matters who wins. It's just they want to get that event behind them.
Oh, so you think we're going to have sort of a dash to the finish after Election Day is out of the way?
Yeah, and that's pretty typical. You know, in fact, in election years, the November, December rallies are pretty tremendous. And in fact, when markets are up more than 10% in the first half, you also get big rallies November, December, sort of choppy through September.
You think investors are...
Oh, this is going to be great. October leading into the election, and then we're going to have another blast off probably. That's great.
Sold on the idea that this economy is going to make it. It's going to make it through. The Fed's going to pull this off. Is any of what we've witnessed since Fed Day doubts about the bigger picture?
So far, so good. This Friday, we get core PCE, and hopefully that confirms inflation is no longer on the front burner. But I'd say one thing I've noticed is that the number of investors and professional money managers that think we're already in a recession is very high. And so I think the evidence just has to be better than expected, and I think those views shift back to soft landing.
When we've seen, you know, recently targets for the S&P, Brian Belsky, I keep bringing him up because he's the most recent to raise his target up to the highest now on the street. I've asked you about, you know, the market lately. You haven't sounded like you'd be raising your own target to a degree like that, would you?
You know, I think there is a lot of upside in the foreseeable future. Let's say 3-6 months out. But for someone to tactically say we need to pin a 6,000 target and then put money to work today, I think it's harder to make that case because valuations aren't on the cheaper end, and we've already had a fairly sizable move. So I'm not saying I'm like bearish right now, but to me, I'd have a lot more confidence saying 3-6 months out, things are attractive, especially things like margin debt, right? It actually decreased in August, meaning investors have been deleveraging. Mm-hmm. It hasn't gone anywhere for the last 4 months at a time when markets are rising.
I guess my point would be, it would have been better articulated to just say, you don't sound as bullish as you usually are. Is that fair?
You know, yes, I'm bullish into year end, but I'm a little less confident about how markets behave into Election Day. And not that I think we're going to have a huge drawdown. If we do have a big drawdown, you know, I'd be buying that dip. But I also don't think we can make new highs and then see the market blast off after Election Day. So I'd rather sort of say things look a lot better after Election Day.
Can we make new highs if
we need a slow grind through October? That's what he's trying to say.
Tech doesn't resume its leadership role in anywhere close to the degree that it had?
As long as tech is a market performer. If tech actually declines, that's going to be hard for the rest of the S&P 500 to compensate. But what we've seen so far, including days like NVIDIA and Tesla recently, is that tech is actually holding its own, but other stocks are starting to show catalysts and signs of life.
Yeah, what about the broadening trade? I mean, look, you look at the Russell, your big call, of course. Week to date, it's down more than 1%. Really hasn't done much at all. I kept hearing, hey, you got to wait till the Fed cuts. Then you go into the Russell. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, Russell had a big week last week. It's some profit taking now, but I think that there's, you know, this is what bottoms look like. I don't think bottoms are straight up. I know in 2021 energy was bottoming, and it was also very choppy, but eventually made not only new highs, but then basically had a blistering gain in 2020 in the year following. So I think that's a multi-year start for the Russell. It feels choppy, but we're still near all-time highs, and there's a big fundamental case to own small caps.
Some have made the case that there are a lot of areas of the market that are overcrowded at this point. So many different sectors have gone up a bunch. You look at industrials and utilities and other things that have traded near or at highs. Therefore, they find better value in bonds. What do you think?
You know, I think a bond investor is buying a bond for a different reason than buying an equity. Because an equity gives you not only inflation protection and benefit from falling yields, but also capital appreciation and positive surprise. Bonds rarely give you positive surprise. I think a bond investor someone should have some income with some capital upside there, but there are so many good opportunities. And, you know, the fact that China has started to actually perform better and potentially broken out, that's again a Brent signal, because that's been a big drag for the last few years.
Oh, how about that? Do you feel like the move that happened in China this week is a game changer on how we should view what, the potential turn in their economy means for the overall markets? I mean, we've seen certain stocks get a nice boost, some of the luxury goods companies, right? LVMH, Estee Lauder, et cetera.
And the gaming stocks.
What about in the bigger picture?
It's hard to tell what's a trading rally versus a bottom for China. I spent some time talking to Mark Newton, our technical strategist. He thinks this is a bona fide breakout, and it is coming on the heels of not only stimulus, but in the face of unrelenting bad news for China. So to me, a rally on bad news is a sign that maybe the worst is already priced into China, and that means it could rally for a while.
All right.
Not a bad point. Real quick, Mr. Rude Puts, happy birthday, buddy. Happy 42nd birthday to Duke and you. Perfect. If that's true. I think you're saying it's your birthday in the chat, so happy birthday. All right, we're going to move on. Let's see. I feel like somebody said something. Oh, Mr. Geek of All Trades. That's what I meant to do. Good morning, sir. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. All right, let's move on. Investor optimism hits 2024 high according to Investopedia survey. Let's see what they got to say over here again. CNBC television about 12 hours ago.
Meantime, despite today's pullback, the major averages bucking history and still on pace for a strong September. The Nasdaq, in fact, seeing its best September since 2013, and a new Investopedia survey says that investors are the most optimistic they've been all year. Let's dig into the data.
September's been horrible.
With Investopedia editor-in-chief Caleb Silver. Caleb, it's always great to see you.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
So the most optimistic all year. Was this done after the Fed decision? Is that part of it?
We purposely did this after the Fed decision. Somebody cue Nina Simone, because investors are feeling good, very good. The highest optimism we've seen all year. 71% call themselves either optimistic or cautiously optimistic. Only 19%, are expecting a correction in the next 3 months, and less than 20% are skeptical. So you have this overwhelming positivity going on right now with individual investors.
We should just note that they're doing construction, and that's the noise that you hear. It's not some sort of sound effect that we bring on.
I'm just nervous. I thought it was my heart.
It's the compressor in the back room.
Seems like a good time to start that construction.
A very good program during a live TV show.
When I was redoing the studio, I can't tell you how many times I left my compressor plugged in. It would turn on every single time I was live streaming.
In terms of what you're investing in, is it the same stories? Because in the word cloud, NVIDIA is prominent.
Yeah, NVIDIA rising to the top of the most popular stocks held by our readers. And again, these are individual retail investors who like putting money to work, but they chase big stocks and they're super faithful. But what was really notable this round is a lot of people moving towards ETFs. ETFs is where they've been allocating for the past 6 to 8 weeks, a little bit more than individual stocks. That's very rare, but it shows you maybe they got tired of chasing the big stocks, wanted a little diversification. They see lower rates coming. Maybe they want to be a little bit more spread out as those rates come down.
They're buying into sort of.
They're like, Billy, they're talking, they're live. Hit the jackhammer.
This broadening of the market rally.
It's so loud.
I mean, that's
like all
distracting.
screaming.
It's really distracting.
But Caleb's a pro.
No.
So I'll ask you this. Given that we're at record optimism in terms of the survey, historically, has that been a sign of anything? Or in other words, is that the sign of a top?
We used to save that, right? When everybody's on that side of the boat, this side, you're going to see a little bit of tipping this way. It used to be a pretty good contrarian indicator. I used to feel that. I'm worried about it myself, but you can't ignore the relentless bid, as our buddy Josh Brown likes to call it. Every 2 weeks, individual investors are putting money in the market. Active retail investors are putting money in the market now through ETFs, but they've
The emoji meter. What? Readers remain cautiously optimistic. Look at this. That's right. They have YOLO on here. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous.
been buying the big stocks too. So it's just this relentless bid. Yeah, we get pullbacks. We did the survey after that big pullback last time. They didn't get scared at all. They kept buying, and they've been rewarded for it.
What are they doing with gold? Because gold's outperformed the S&P dramatically in the last 2 years. You pick your time period recently, and gold's the man.
Yeah.
So what do they think?
Back to Melissa's favorite question: what would you do with an extra 10 grand? We ask them that every 2 months. Gold finally cracking the top
Bitcoin.
5 here.
Wow.
Not that many, but about 7% saying I'd buy gold with an extra 10 grand right now. You would have been wrong to have done that 6 months ago, a year ago. Who would have thought? But gold back on the menu now for investors, along with individual stocks, which top the list, then ETFs.
It's so amazing.
You know what would you guys do with 10 grand? You know, they're kind of boring the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. What would you guys do with 10 grand? If you had an extra 10 grand laying around, where would you throw it? To be honest, let me know in the chat. I would personally I would do Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Caspa. I would split it up between those three. That's just me personally. You guys let me know what you think. I'm gonna finish this though.
Individual stocks, Nvidia, and yet another part of your survey finds that most people think that AI is overvalued.
Yeah, they'll buy overvalued stocks. They may think they're overvalued. That's not stopping them from wanting to own them, because you would have been wrong if you just turned your back on them a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. So they keep buying those stocks. Their list of the stocks they hold the most doesn't change that much in terms of the composition, but the top leadership has changed a little bit. That's interesting to watch as well.
Interesting. Mr. Leo Lustig says he's doing well. The wife and I booked for Vegas BTC 25, staying at Harris. Dude, Harris hotel is not too bad. It's just older, right? But it's a nice hotel. Let's see. They have a decent poker room. Wink, wink. That's awesome, Leo. That is great. All right, Mark Cuban. This guy. Let's see what he's got to say over here. I know he's for Kamala Harris. He kind of gets into things, and I'm pretty sure he shits on Gary Gensler in this video. So let's see what he's got to say over here. So yeah, let's do it.
Both presidential candidates seem to be tripping over each other when it comes to offering economic breaks and incentives to business.
For the record, I don't care about anybody's political stance. I actually do like Mark Cuban because he's actually one of the more level-headed people on the planet, but each his own.
Businesses and tax cuts to individuals and some corporations. They both even include a good deal of tariffs in their economic plans. The argument with Kamala Harris, and she argues, is that hers are fewer and not as devastating as the president's. Mark Cuban agrees with her, the billionaire businessman joining us right now. Mark, you argue that, and it's always good to have you, you argue that Donald Trump's are particularly, I think you used the word insane. What did you mean by that?
Yep. Well, first of all, strategic tariffs aren't bad. So if a company's trying to dump, or a country's trying to dump in the United States and we have a manufacturer there, tariff him, that's great. But across the board tariffs, 10 or 20% is just inflationary. It's a tax on the American consumer. But to make
He's not wrong here. He's not.
Matters even worse, and what's truly insane, when you threaten a legendary company like John Deere with a 200% tariff if they move, but only a 10 or 20% tariff on China, what you're doing is you're making it easy for the Chinese competitors to take business away from John Deere. That is the definition of insane.
A lot of your business colleagues say the definition of insane is supporting Kamala Harris, yet you do. You're a smart, savvy businessman. You came from nothing to be a multi-billionaire, so you're pretty good at what you do. What do you see in her that you don't see in Donald Trump?
That was messed up.
I think she's thorough. If you look at Donald, right, when he talks about his policies, they're very impetuous, they're impulsive, they're set to match whatever's happening at a rally. Whereas with the Harris campaign and Kamala herself, she's very, very thorough. She's very precise. Her team really vets every idea. And to me, that's important as a business person because you can trust what she says. Think about what happens when Donald comes out and says, I'm going to put a 10% cap on credit card interest rates. The next thing that happens isn't that he explains why, it's that everybody around him explains what he says. He can't explain it for himself. Everybody's got to explain for him. Or whether it's a 10 or 20 or 60% tariff, or the 200% on John Deere. With Kamala Harris, no one has to explain for her. She takes the time to vet her policies thoroughly. And when she says them and presents them, they are what they are. They're self-explanatory.
But she doesn't talk to a lot of journalists. She doesn't talk to a lot of people who express these views. Maybe she has with you. A lot of people wonder if she's up to the job. Donald Trump himself has said, if she gets in and has her way, the markets are going to tank. What do you say?
No, obviously he's wrong. I mean, Neil, you know as a business person, you have to follow the results. Kamala Harris went from having a negative favorability rating, negative recognition. Even Donald Trump says, what's this lady's name? You know, Harris, whatever. To here she is effectively tied. So from a business perspective, if you're able to in 45 days go from being way behind to ahead or tied at worst, that's a huge accomplishment. That means you're doing something right and you should do more of it. On the flip side, Donald Trump was way ahead. It was inconceivable that he could even potentially lose this election given everything that's happened. And he's just squandered that entire lead. The problem
well, you're right, it's changed. The polls are even. Could I ask you, Mark, whether you would entertain being a Treasury Secretary, Commerce Secretary in a Harris administration?
Head of the SEC. Head of the SEC. That's the job I would take. Maybe HHS, but somebody needs to replace Gary Gensler. You might have heard her today talking about really pushing hard to support and advance technologies like AI, not the AI like Donald Trump.
But replace the head of the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, because he's not a good cop for the securities industry. Bottom line, right?
No, it's awful. Yeah, bottom line,
Facts.
he's awful, particularly for crypto and for businesses in general. We've seen the number of public companies just be decimated.
All right.
Eat shit, Gary.
Oh, that's great. Shout out to Mark Cuban. Again, I don't care about people's political stance. You guys vote for who you want to vote for. It's just, man, yeah, he's one of the most level-headed people, and he's freaking brilliant, to be honest. PayPal expands services to allow merchants to buy and sell crypto. This is CNBC Crypto World. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's talk about the top stories for today. And let's stick with the markets. Professional Capital Management founder and CEO Anthony Pompliano joined Squawk Box this morning to discuss his optimistic outlook for Bitcoin as Fed policy shifts.
If we look at that Fed interest rate cut, Bitcoin is the best performing asset so far. Gold and oil futures.
Hold the phone. I am missing one of my links. I was supposed to play that this morning. Hold on. Why don't I have that? Now I have to go to them. Hold on, we gotta watch that first before I do the Crypto World one. Where is Anthony Pompliano? I meant to play that, actually. That's super annoying. Bear with me, people. Here it is. I was supposed to play this. I apologize. Bitcoin should be a big winner for the next couple of months. Yeah, we're gonna listen to this first, and then we'll get into the CNBC Crypto World. Let's do it.
I want to take a look at the price of Bitcoin this morning, just below the $64,000 level. The cryptocurrency up now 140% in the last year. Joining us is Anthony Pompliano, founder and CEO of Professional Capital Management. He's now the author of How to Live an Extraordinary Life, which is out this week. I'm holding it. The book is a compilation of letters that Anthony wrote to his children. And I want to talk about that in just a moment. But I want to start just where we are in crypto land and what you think is really happening here. Obviously, there's been a big move that happened after the Fed lowered interest rates effectively, or cut the rate by 50 basis points. How much of this is now built in to the rest of the year? Meaning we know that the cuts are likely to continue. Therefore, is 64,000 or 63,000, it's going to just stay level, or it keeps going up, goes down? What do you see?
Well, I think, if we look at that Fed interest rate cut, Bitcoin is the best performing asset so far. Gold and oil futures are kind of second. There's a new study that just came out from Lynn Alden and Sam Galligan that said Bitcoin is the most sensitive asset when it comes to global liquidity. And so 83% of the time, Bitcoin moves with global liquidity. It's more than S&P or any other asset. And so if you look at not just the interest rate cuts, now M2 money supply is expanding, and also we have cuts going on in China and elsewhere. And so I think that Bitcoin ends up being a big winner whenever we get kind of cheap money flooding into the system. And it feels like we just went through this big regime change, right? We were tightening. Everyone was trying to kind of drain liquidity from the system. Now we're going to go the other way. And so Bitcoin should be a big winner here for the next couple months.
In terms of the flows, if you will, how much has come in via the ETFs in the past week and a half, and how much has come in direct?
Yeah, it's really hard to tell kind of exactly what's pushing the price, if you will. And then also you have to understand that there's a lot of trading that's going on. People are putting on different kind of cash and carry trades and things like that. And so, like, how many people are actually buying Bitcoin and holding it for the long term versus how many people are just trying to trade or clip?
Well, that's what I'm trying to understand, this sort of hodler version of this, and that was a sort of a specialized community that I assume gets sort of not pushed out, but over time, you would think
if you
would
look
expand, and then you're going to get into a more and that might actually create some kind of price discovery in a different way.
Yeah. So what's interesting is in bull markets, if you look on chain, basically, you go through a bear market, everyone buys up Bitcoin, they hold on real tight, they don't move it for a year or two, and then as you get into a bull market, price goes up, and there's kind of a clearing. People start to sell their Bitcoin into that bull market. We have started to see a little bit of selling of Bitcoin as we kind of broke over $60,000 earlier this year, but still more than 50% of all Bitcoin is being held, for over a year and not moving on chain, which I think is probably the best signal.
No, I bumped this up. Dan, he doesn't really talk that fast. It's 1.2.
You were going to ask?
No, I wasn't.
I apologize. You're a Bitcoin maximalist, so Ethereum doesn't do it for you?
I wouldn't put myself in the Bitcoin maximalist bucket. I think that I'm a monetary maximalist, and I think Bitcoin is a big winner there. I think stablecoins have product market fit and are going to be very large. And then also, I do think that there's going to be a lot of other technologies that end up being valuable. Ethereum, for me, last year I sold all the Ethereum and I bought Solana instead. And I thought that that asset and that network is just cheaper, it's faster, it's going to probably do better.
Because that becomes the you think
if he did that last year when it was like $20, he probably did very well.
Actually, that becomes a true financial network. We keep talking about payments.
I don't necessarily think of it so much. In crypto, I think that there's two revolutions going on. There's a monetary revolution, trying to be money, and that's where you see Bitcoin and stable coins. And then there's a technology revolution. And, do you need a blockchain or do you not? Right. That's up for debate in a bunch of different ways.
Maybe a curveball, but do you think Visa is a monopoly?
I think that payments in general, Visa has done a very good job of, but it's really hard for me to get excited when people yell and scream about monopolies when I have plenty of other services. I go to the store and I see people using other products. How do you have a monopoly if there's, a big number 2 or a big number 3? How is it a monopoly if we live in a digital global world? There's people who are using all kinds of different technologies. And so, sure, are they good? Are they big? Yes. But at this point, a monopoly means that you are the winner. I don't think you can say that in payments.
Real quick, you got a whole bunch of letters here to your children. When did you start doing this?
About 2 years ago.
And is there one letter, dare I ask, that you actually think is the letter?
Maybe the one that, words of advice.
Yeah, maybe the one that people, kind of are most surprised by is there's a letter in there about luck is not real. And the thought process is that luck is a psychological concept, right? And so if you and I both walk across the street and we get hit by a car and lose our leg, somebody comes and visits you in the hospital, you may say, wow, I was so unlucky to be walking across the street. But if I then am sitting in the same hospital bed next to you, also lost my leg, somebody comes and asks me, I say, well, I'm so lucky to be alive. And so when you think of it from that perspective, luck is this thing that we like to kind of point to whenever we're actually talking about probability. But luck is something that we control. And so if you can shift your mindset or your perspective, it usually ends up putting you in a more optimistic kind of position in life.
Interesting. That was quite interesting, actually. All right, let's move back to Crypto World, CNBC Television. Sorry, going to restart it.
Okay, let's talk about the top stories for today. And let's stick with the markets. Professional capital management founder and CEO Anthony Pompliano joined Squawk Box this morning to discuss his optimistic outlook for Bitcoin as Fed policy shifts.
If we look at that Fed interest rate cut, Bitcoin is the best performing asset so far. Gold and oil futures are kind of second. There's a new study that just came out from Lynn Alden and Sam Galligan that said Bitcoin is the most sensitive asset when it comes to global liquidity. And so 83% of the time, Bitcoin moves with global liquidity. It's more than S&P or any other asset. And so if you look at not just the interest rate cuts, now M2 money supply is expanding, and also we have cuts going on in China and elsewhere. And so I think that Bitcoin ends up being a big winner whenever we get kind of cheap money flooding into the system. And it feels like we just went through this big regime change, right? We were tightening, everyone was trying to kind of drain liquidity from the system. Now we're going to go the other way. And so Bitcoin should be a big winner here for the next couple of months.
He also discussed Bitcoin trading activity and how he sees it as an indicator of whether the currency is having a bull run.
In bull markets, if you look on chain, basically, you go through a bear market, everyone buys up Bitcoin, they hold on real tight, they don't move it for a year or two. And then as you get into a bull market, price goes up and there's kind of a clearing, people start to sell their Bitcoin into that bull market. We have started to see a little bit of selling of Bitcoin as we kind of broke over $60,000 earlier this year, but still more than 50% of all Bitcoin is being held, for over a year and not moving on chain, which I think is probably the best signal.
Next, CFTC Chair Russ Benham also joined Squawk Box this morning to discuss U.S. election betting and the agency's position on sites that allow them.
I don't think there's necessarily a question that there is merit to the price discovery function of these markets, but really what the commission has been saying for over a decade now is that these markets are illegal under current law. And we have essentially pushed that towards what we're dealing with right now with these two markets. But I would say what I've said multiple times is this pulls the CFTC into the role of being an election cop. Because if there is manipulation of these markets, if someone does take a position, long or short, which would essentially be on a candidate, and then potentially puts out news that's not necessarily true, this could spiral into a situation where you have manipulation of elections.
Earlier this month, the agency lost a legal battle against prediction market Kalshi over election betting markets, which the CFTC appealed and warned that an explosion in election gambling will harm the public interest. When asked about how the CFTC might handle offshore betting sites available to Americans before the U.S. election, Benham did not rule out taking enforcement action.
This is the enforcement mechanism of our agency. We have to build a case, we have to get the facts, we have to allege the facts, we have to go to a court. So we do things in order, we do things with a very sort of particular process. And we don't hesitate. So if there are U.S. investors, U.S. customers being offered derivatives without the entity being registered with us or letting us know, then we're going to bring an enforcement case.
These platforms, which sometimes use crypto tokens for placing bets, have gained popularity over the months as we head toward the election. As of this morning, this year's presidential election has $1 billion on the line on Polymarket, a prediction betting site that the agency has fined before. We reached out to Polymarket for comment, but did not hear back right away. And last, Caroline Ellison, the ex-girlfriend of Sam Bankman-Fried and former CEO of Alameda Research, faced sentencing in federal court yesterday. Crypto World's Mackenzie Sagalos was at the courthouse and has more.
Caroline Ellison, the ex-girlfriend of Sam Bankman-Fried, former CEO of Alameda Research, has been sentenced to 24 months in prison and then 3 years of probation after that, also ordered to pay $11 billion in forfeiture. This is a culmination of almost 2 years worth of cooperating with the government, federal regulators, and the FTX bankruptcy estate to help them piece together lost assets. Carolyn signed a plea agreement in December of 2022 and since then has been helping prosecutors build their case against Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of FTX. She was a big part of his sentencing. Both Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline Ellison found guilty of 7 different charges. Carolyn pled out to those charges. Sam was found guilty by a jury in November. He faces 25 years behind bars, also $11 billion in forfeiture. Carolyn getting 2 years because of her cooperation. Judge Kaplan and AUSA Danielle Sassoon both citing just how instrumental her testimony was to putting Sam behind bars and helping to explain the scope of the FTX fraud. Still, this is a lot more than the 3 years that the probation department had recommended ahead of sentencing. Judge Kaplan making it clear that just because Caroline was a big cooperator in Sam Bankman-Fried's conviction, it wasn't a get-out-of-jail-free card.
All right, for our main story, PayPal is launching a new service to let merchants buy, hold, and sell cryptocurrency. This comes as the company already lets personal accounts get into the asset class. Earlier this week, Mackenzie Sigalo spoke to Jose Fernandez de Ponte, who leads the company's blockchain, crypto, and digital cryptocurrency unit, to learn more.
So PayPal, for the first time ever, is enabling business accounts to buy, hold, and sell cryptocurrency. Walk me through the launch and what it means for merchants using your platform.
Well, Mackenzie, as you know, we have been involved in digital currencies now for the best part of the last 4 years. We have been active on stable coins for about a year or so. But until now, only our consumer accounts were able to hold and interact with our stablecoin on our platform. What we are enabling now for the first time is for merchants to be able to interact with it as well. It's been one of the features that has been the most demanded by our merchants over the last year. And we take it to be a very good sign that the appetite of businesses to interact with these new payment instruments.
So have you heard a desire from businesses to utilize crypto? And do you see real demand from customers who want to pay merchants with cryptocurrencies?
So those are two different questions. And definitely we do hear demand on the merchant side for cheaper and faster and instant settlement of payments. And they do see the value of stable coins and other digital currencies as a way to get in there. I don't think, and we have said this for quite a while, that consumers in most of the Western markets and the US and Europe will be doing mainstream e-commerce funded by stablecoins right away. If you look at the use of stablecoins these days, it's mostly for crypto trading and mostly for cross-border payments. I do think that we will continue to see stablecoins for payments cross-border, and especially on B2B payment use cases. So a lot of the demand that we see from merchants are companies who want to pay their suppliers in something that settles instantly and is low cost, and chief financial officers that have complex treasury operations, and they want to make sure that they can move money around the world quickly and cheaply.
Now, is this just for U.S. merchants for now?
It is just for U.S. merchants, yes.
I mean, do you see an opportunity abroad? I mean, lots of countries and regions around the world are more crypto literate than the U.S. You were just chatting about that a minute ago, this desire for international settlement, stablecoins being a big part of that narrative. Do you see a path to capturing business from merchants who are looking to integrate crypto payment options at checkout?
We do see that, as I said, we see that mostly on the B2B use case right away. There is value in being able to aggregate demand from consumers who are overseas, but they lack a international credit card instrument. And we see people in Asian markets and Latin American markets who want to buy from U.S. merchants, but they lack the traditional payment methods to do that. If you see most of the retail payment activity that you see these days is that aggregation from consumers offshore who want to buy from U.S. merchants. On the merchant side, however, that has a number of different ways. We will see appetite from merchants outside of the U.S. who want to pay suppliers in the U.S. but they lack access to hard currency, to dollars in their home markets. And that does not require that they have a PayPal account out there. Remember that the way we think about our stablecoin is like a tokenized version of the PayPal balance that people have used for 20 years. But now you can interact with it without having a PayPal account, and you can send it outside the PayPal ecosystem. So even if only merchants in the US right now will be able to hold the stablecoin and send it out, merchants outside the US will be able to interact with the stablecoin because it's already available in more than 20 exchanges and wallets all over the world.
Okay, so you and I spoke in August of last year, right after your team had launched PayPal's US dollar peg stablecoin, PYUSD. Certainly not the easiest thing to get off the ground. It's my understanding that it took you guys multiple years to get regulators on board, even though you were working with Paxos, a company that had already done this before. So now you're more than a year in. Who's using your stablecoin and how has it been going so far?
It has been going really well. As you remember when we spoke last year, the whole idea behind our stablecoin is that we wanted to see a stablecoin that is designed for commerce and payments. As I said earlier, the vast majority of the market cap that you see out there now is for crypto trading. We are less interested in that side of the house. And we look at the market cap of stablecoins, but especially we look at the on-chain transfer volume because we want our stablecoin to be used for what we call value in motion more than value in rest. We do care that the stablecoin is moving and changing hands. In that sense, we are very, very satisfied with the progress. If you look at inside the PayPal ecosystem, we continue to deploy that on some of our franchise. We know that the uniqueness of our stablecoin is the ability to connect with the more than 400 million consumers, more than 35 million merchants in our ecosystem. It's the only stablecoin that is supported inside PayPal and Venmo. Holders of that stablecoin inside PayPal can already buy at checkout at millions of merchants. We deploy that on Zoom, our remittance business. And it's a very clear value for folks who are sending money back home to support their loved ones. So if they fund the remittance in a stablecoin. They don't pay any fees. We are now enabling it for business accounts. We enable that. We establish support for ENS. We think that is important to remove friction so that people can send to human readable addresses. And we have seen a really, really nice adoption in the market outside of PayPal. Most of the more relevant wallets out there support the coin. Deploying on Solana was a big plus for us. It's a really good protocol for payments. And as we said, it's available in many of the exchanges worldwide. So very, very satisfied with the progress. Obviously, we're still getting started.
Purely looking at market cap, PYUSD hit $1 billion at the end of August. It's down to around $724 million, nearly 30% plunge here. And we haven't seen Tether or USDC have a drop that steep, not even when Tether depegged. Do you see that as any cause for concern? And do you have any insight into the dynamics there?
Not at all. I don't think it's a cause for concern. If you look at the evolution, has been a little bit of seesaw with an upward trend. And I think that we will see volume coming up and coming down, but consistently in the long term going up. It is a little bit of flow of small numbers. When you have a smaller base, it's obviously smaller market shifts can drive the volume up and down. When we look at the on-chain transfer volume, though, the amount of the stablecoin that has been changing hands every month, we see that going steadily up, which is the metric that we are most focused on.
Interesting. All right, shout out to CNBC Crypto World. Let's move on to the video of the day. I want to hear a little bit of this. This is Anthony Pompliano's podcast with his wife. This Bitcoin data will shock you. We're going to listen to a little bit of it. I want to hear what he has to say about the whole Kamala thing at the beginning. And yeah, we'll see how far we get. But hit that like button, guys. Appreciate you for hanging out. Let's do it. I'm going to bump it up.
All right, Plena, what's the first topic?
All right, so Vice President Kamala Harris finally addressed crypto for the first time on Sunday.
Kind of.
She said she would, quote unquote, encourage innovative technologies like AI and digital assets while protecting consumers and investors. She has yet to publicly discuss crypto at length, but her advisors reached out to companies including Coinbase and Ripple to reset relations. I wonder why. Is that because of like regulatory things that have been going on?
Look, there's a lot of complexity here, and there's a lot, obviously, of tribalism, and there's a us versus them, mentality. But I do think there's a couple of key components that are pretty important. The first is, why does the Bitcoin and crypto community feel like they're under attack? Well, it's because they have been, right? It's very obvious that whether intentionally or not, there is an apparatus that comes from the government, from banking regulators, from securities regulators, from politicians that has been, at best, skeptical, at worst, nefariously, abrasive and punitive against the industry. And so if you look at that, when people say, why are they not talking about this? There's, X number of people that hold this. There's Y amount of value. It's because it doesn't matter. Nobody is going to win or lose the presidential election based on what their stance on crypto is. It is a massive echo chamber. Think about how crazy this is. They're not talking about it.
He's probably right.
Yet the crypto world has put together the largest money packs and donations of any industry.
Is this why both parties are kind of catering to the crypto demographic?
I don't even think they're catering to it, right?
I mean,
but here's the part that I don't think people really quite understand is if you look at Trump is saying a lot of the right things and everything. He was in office. He didn't do any of this stuff. And so now he's saying, hey, I learned about it. That is a natural progression of a Bitcoiner or of somebody in the crypto industry. Okay, got it. But he's at a disadvantage. He cannot do anything right now. All he can do is make promises. But Kamala Harris actually has the advantage from a position standpoint in crypto. If she right now wanted to win the crypto vote, she could easily do 2 or 3 different things. She could issue a statement that calls the dogs off of the industry, says, hey, everyone leave this industry alone. We need to treat them just like everybody else. She could go and she could actually, through some sort of executive order in partnership with Joe Biden, say, we're going to make certain decisions. We're going to advocate for certain legislation to be passed throughout the legislative process.
I really want to see like the whole unrealized capital gain thing. Like, I don't think that should be a thing. I don't think we should be paying taxes on things that we haven't taken actual gains from yet, right? I really want something like that to go through because it's just horseshit, right? You shouldn't have to pay taxes until you sell it and it's in your pocket. That's just my opinion.
She is doing something. She's resetting relations by talking to these companies.
That doesn't count. The words don't matter, right? Again, some people look at it and they say, oh, if you're the existing administration, you're at a disadvantage. I actually think it's an advantage because you have the power to do something right now. And so if they want to actually win the crypto vote, meaning the Democrats and the Harris administration, they could act right now. They have 35, 40 days left. If they do something, they will win a big portion of the undecided and even potentially the single issue voters because people say, oh, they're serious. It's not words, it's action. Trump doesn't have any advantage right now. He just can
Trump says that's what he wants to stop, right? Unrealized capital gains. If I'm not mistaken, he did say that. I just wish it was like that on both sides. Like if it was like that on both sides, then I mean, honestly, I don't really care about politics to begin with, but all of this really wouldn't bother me as much if that was just like all the crypto stuff was the same across the board. Then I wouldn't be like, all right, vote for so and so.
Make campaign promises, and you have to evaluate, do you believe them or do you not? Now, here's what I do think is really interesting. Why does the Harris campaign not do anything? Because it doesn't matter. It does not matter towards whether she's going to win or lose. The crypto crowd can all go towards Donald Trump. 100% of them can go vote for Trump, and the Harris administration obviously thinks they can still win. And so what Trump is doing, which is very interesting, is he is obviously much more sympathetic. He thinks that crowd of people is very strategic. That's why he's spending so much time on this. But there is a kind of 1A component to what Trump is doing. Trump is not only saying stuff on the campaign trail, but he's also built a business within the crypto industry.
Yeah, why is he doing that? Why is he building a business?
I don't think that's right. I don't think he should have a business with that. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think about that, actually?
He's got the Trump trading cards. They're very, very popular.
Trading cards.
They're selling out some of these drops in hours. I mean, this stuff is very popular. And for those that haven't went and looked at it,
he has Trump trading cards? I thought he just had the whole NFT thing. I didn't know he had trading cards too. That's funny.
Talked to the team that helped him do this, right? And I've really tried to understand, like, why is this working?
Genius, actually.
Because it's not just crypto people buying it. They didn't launch NFTs in the sense of like, look at us, we're in the crypto echo chamber, we're launching NFTs. They launched Trump digital trading cards. And a huge hack that they had in terms of virality and really optimizing for selling out is you can buy with your debit or credit card. So you don't need crypto. So if you're Joe Blow sitting at home and you are a Trump fan, whether because of his politics or just for you've been, a fan of him for a long time because of The Apprentice or whatever, and you say, I want to buy a collectible, or similar to the sneaker flipping culture, I'm going to buy this, hold it, it's going to go up in value and I'll sell to somebody else later. Mm-hmm. You can just whip out your debit card or your credit card and you can buy it online the same way you'd buy something from Amazon or Shopify.
Yeah.
And then you now have this digital trading card. It's not a crypto product in the sense that the crypto people think about it. And so what we're watching happen right now is the crypto industry was the pirates. They were the kind of challengers. They were growing very aggressively. And you had to be very native to the technology. You had to be very technically oriented. You had to really, really believe in this contrarian thing that was kind of outside the norm. Today, those people, if they get ossified and kind of like dried cement in the hardcore crypto industry, they are going to get left behind, because the future of the industry is how do you cross over to create products and services where people don't know crypto rails are involved. So
hold on, Dan R in the chat just said the SEC says crypto mining devices are securities.
Stop the cap.
Get the fuck out of here. Did they really? When did they say that? I didn't even see that. Dude, send me a link in Discord if you could. That's what? That's some bullshit.
For example, the crypto audience will say blah, 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 stable coins. But actually, the future products that are going to be successful are going to talk about blah, 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 dollars. When I say dollars, you don't say back to me, are you using HTTP electronic money on, X rails that settles through the Fed? It's just dollars. I don't care if it's a physical dollar in my pocket or it's an electronic dollar in my bank account. It's dollars.
Facts. Crypto KJ, send me the link if you have it. He said, Dan R, it's all devices, just one company. Send me the link if you have it. I'll pull it up quick before we get out of here.
Same thing is going to happen to crypto. The rails, the infrastructure, all of the nerd stuff is going to get pushed into the background, and there will be people who build that stuff that care. But the average user outside of the hardcore crypto crowd, they don't care. All they want to know is, are you selling me a product or a service that gets the job done? I use technology every day that I could not describe to you how it is built.
The internet.
I don't care. All I know is that I can go to google.com and I can type in a question and it gives me links to go check it out. I can go to Perplexity and I can type.
Google is so like, they just put what they want you to see there. It's not all like, going to give you the proper answers, but
type in a question and it gives me an answer. I can pull out a supercomputer from my pocket. I can press a glass screen and magic happens. I don't know how the glass screen works.
I get his point.
I don't care. Let me use the products and services and just get out of my way. That is the maturation that crypto is going through. And so if you bring this back, if founders, entrepreneurs, people who are building the industry start to realize that, those are going to be the people that win. If the investors realize investing in this industry is no different than other industries, you're now looking at a global portfolio, and the politicians are realizing, wait a second, this group is important in the sense of size, but it's not actually going to win or lose Harris the campaign. And so I think what Trump is trying to do is he's looking for these areas where he can gain an advantage, where he can gain an edge. He's the challenger. He doesn't have the benefit of the media saying, great job. He doesn't have the benefit of Oprah saying, hey, come sit down and do a talk with me. So when you are the challenger, when you're the upstart, when you're the startup competing against the incumbent, you have to take a little bit more risk. You got to go and find the things on the edges where you think that you can get a mispriced opportunity. And he thinks Bitcoin and crypto is one of those things.
Yeah. And like you said, like Harris's team is kind of making these broad statements and grouping digital assets with AI. They're just seeing this as like frontier tech versus being like, we're going to put skin in the game and start a business. And Trump recently went to the Bitcoin bar in New York City. So it's like he's putting some skin in the game to say like this really is important to me, whether it actually is or not. And you actually went to the bar where Trump was. Do you want to tell us your impression?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing was forget any politics, whether you like the person or you don't like the person. I think most people who watch this show know I'm a fairly independent person. I think that there's things that are positive about both candidates. There's things that are negative about both candidates. I take great pride in trying to evaluate each one of them independently on each topic, and I come to a conclusion as to whether I agree with them or I don't.
I want to finish this, but I don't. I'm gonna let him finish the sentence here, but then we're gonna stop it. I'm gonna read that article.
That said, when Donald Trump walked into that bar, the first thing that I said to myself was, this dude's swag is on 1,000.
Okay, I don't know about swag.
I'm telling you, it is hard to describe until you see him walk into a crowded room. Now, again, people are there to see him, right? So there's an element of it. But I have met thousands of people in my life. I mostly for my career as an investor have invested in private companies where my entire job is to walk in and in 30 minutes I need to make a decision whether I'm going to give a person a lot of money to try to go build a company. What do they like? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What type of person are they? Can they inspire other people to do stuff? Can they go close a deal? Can they raise money? Can they do all this stuff? I don't have the best measurement of people, but I got a pretty good one that's been honed over a long time.
Did I have swag when we met?
Yes.
Oh.
We met in the morning and then I said to you, we should go to dinner tonight.
Because I had swag.
Yours was on like 500. His was on 1,000, but it's okay. Well, you walked in, we won't tell the whole story. And so when he walked in that bar, that was my first thing, right? Whether people agree with me or not, that was the.
What he meant to say was.
Fuck, dude, spit on that thing.
That's how she was.
First thing that I noticed was this guy, you want to call it aura, you want to call it swag, whatever you want to call it. It's just some people got it, some people don't.
That's funny, though.
And
he's definitely sleeping on the couch for that one.
I mentioned it to a couple of people and they were like, yeah, 100%. First time I ever saw him was today. I completely agree with that.
Can we just, is it because he like warmed people up? Did he make a joke? Like, is it just the way he walked?
It's kind of like if you're a guy, right? Okay. If you're a guy and you walk into a room and let's say that you walked into a bar and there's a tough guy in the corner, you just know. I'm not messing with that dude. That dude seems like a tough guy. There's just an aura. There's a vibe to them. Whatever word you want to use, you're just like, that guy seems like somebody that nobody wants to mess with. He didn't say anything. He didn't even move. You just know the way they look, the way they feel, like all this. You're just like, got it. Then there's other people that you look at, and because of human biology,
there's a fine line between tough guy and douchebag.
And the way that we have developed, you look at, and you're like, I would whoop that dude's butt. He didn't say anything. He didn't do anything, or whatever, right? It's just you start to learn this stuff. And so I think that Trump, that was the first thing. The second thing is, I got the sense.
Zarkov, I don't know if you're trolling, but he actually just released a book.
That he was interested in,
like literally
what
the other
is this
day.
stuff? Like how does it work? But by no means do I think that if you said to him, hey, go right now, buy Bitcoin, move it between wallets, then go and set up a node, like he's not going to be able to do that stuff. The guy's almost 80 years old, right? So like, let's call a spade on that. You don't need your politicians to be experts on everything. It's impossible for them to do that. Mm-hmm. But the fact that he's trying to learn, doing all stuff, I thought was pretty positive.
All right, I'm gonna stop it there. If you guys want to listen to this, please feel free. I'm gonna actually, you know what? I will put a link in the chat once I open up this Watcher Guru thing that says the SEC says crypto mining devices are securities. I'll read this in a second. Let me send this in the chat. If you guys want to go watch Mr. Anthony Pompliano's podcast, actually, it's probably something just to listen to while you're doing nothing at work, as usual. Bunch of bums. Don't lie to me. I know you guys don't work. All right, we're going to read this quick. SEC says crypto mining devices are securities. What in the frick is going on? In the latest action against the digital asset industry, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, has said that crypto mining devices are securities. Moreover, a federal court ruled that crypto mining boxes were securities, according to a Bloomberg report. The ruling came amid the SEC's lawsuit against Green United. Indeed, the agency sued the company in March of last year, alleging an $18 million fraud scheme through the sale of Bitcoin mining rigs. In response, Green United disputed the securities designation, but failed in its attempts to skew the position of the U.S. District Court Judge Anne Marie whatever the hell the last name is, McCliff Allen, whatever. This is federal court rules crypto money boxes are securities in SEC lawsuit. So this is just, so they're suing Green. Oh wait, against, is it Gurin? Or they just spelled that wrong? Was it Green? Yeah, it was Green. They definitely just spelled that wrong. Oh, grammatical error. All right, so this Green United company, so like they're selling all right, let me see. According to the SEC, in quotes, says has sufficiently alleged a security in the form of Green Box's computer hardware coupled with hosting agreement to operate the Green Boxes. The original lawsuit claims that Green United sold unregistered Green Boxes that made fraudulent promises. Specifically, the agency said that the firm led investors to believe that those products had a digital token they called Green on purported Green blockchain. Additionally, they said that the company led investors to believe Green could increase in value instead of the boxes mined. All right, so this is a totally different. All right, slow down. The thing they're going after is the fact that they're mining their own coin. This isn't, or their own blockchain bullshit, right? Like their own token or coin or whatever the fuck they're calling it. That's not, it's not about like if you bought a Bitcoin miner or if you bought any of these other coins that are already deemed unsecurities. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't be, yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned with this. It's kind of a clickbait title. I wouldn't be too concerned with this. The miners you guys have bought aren't, they're not mining their own coins or doing anything kind of shady. So that's weird though. What the that's such a weird article. I don't know, that's kind of weird. Anyways, all right, recapping things for anybody just joining. Bitcoin $64,426. We got Ethereum at 26.26. Look at that. Solana $152. Hadouken. Let's see, we got XRP at 59 cents, ADA 39 cents, almost 40 cents, 39.5. It's over that. Near Protocol, of course, it's pumping more because I sold it right around $5 just in case. I figured it was going to come back down, to be honest. $5.53, up 5.4%. We got LTC. Somebody was asking me about the L9 in the chat earlier. I think it was Sustainable Crypto. Said how much would I pay for an L9? I don't even know how much they're going for. I think they're going for like 11k. I would just buy the Litecoin right now. I'm gonna be honest. I would just buy a Litecoin. If you believe in Litecoin or even in Dogecoin, I think you have a, so like I think Doge is gonna go up. I do. I don't know if it's gonna get to its all-time high. It could get close. I don't know. It was like 73 cents or something, right? It's at 11 cents right now. Litecoin, I have 100% confidence this is going to at least 2x, at least. Okay. I don't see why it's not going to get up to like $300-400. That's just my opinion, but at least 2x, right? Just for not shooting for the moon. If you guys just put the money into a coin like that, that's been tried and true, every single bull run had a run up, I think you're gonna do just fine. I'd rather not see you spend $11,000 on a ASIC right now that is probably gonna cost you an arm and a leg in electricity, and then you're gonna get mainly Dogecoin anyways. So Dogecoin, I love Doge. It's the original, it's one of the original meme coins. It's just, I'm not gonna be throwing all my money into that bag. Do you know what I mean? I love my L7, don't get me wrong. It's definitely profitable, okay? But I think you'll do better long term if you just invest into the coin that you believe in. That's just my opinion. If it's been through a couple cycles, right? Caspa, I love Caspa. I love how fast it is. It's never been through a bull cycle though. So this is gonna be the tried and true test. Like, is it gonna survive? Right? That's what I want to see. I think it's gonna do well, personally, I do. But everybody has their own opinion, and is what it is. You know what I mean? Is what it is. Looks like Phantom over here up to 71 cents, 5.71% up on the day. Let's check out Crypto Bubble, see if anything changed over here. Doesn't seem like it. Seems like WorldCoin still top of the top earner today, rather 15.5% up on the day, $2.13. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. WIF is up 11.5%. Rune 12% up. Stark 12.7% up on the day. Looking pretty good. Shiba is 11.4% up on the day. Nice. Please pump my Shiba bag. I need that, dude. I have so much. I have 100 million Shiba that's been sitting on Coinbase for like 3 years. I'm trying to get rid of it. All right, sorry. Flashbang. We got neutral on the Fear and Greed Index, if you guys are wondering. Also, Dynex is pumping a little bit. Let's see. I think, to be honest, let me see real quick. My man Yeti sent me this yesterday. Let me pull it up quick, and then we're gonna be getting out of here. So I actually got a jet. Hold on. All right, let me see. Copy link. All right, coming soon. This is, I don't know anything about this site, this exchange, so please, whatever. Biconomy. I guess it's a Canadian and US exchange or something, but they're going to be listing Dynex. Upcoming launch for Dynex with the exact date and time still to be announced, right? So that's it. I don't know. I'm assuming this is why Dynex is pumping. That would be my guess. I don't really like to push exchanges per se, right? So I just kind of didn't really want to throw that out there yesterday, but I kind of wish I did at the same time because it did pump up today. But anyways, you guys are fantastic. Thank you for joining me on the Daily Grind. I'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning around 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, depending on sleep and kids and the life, and you know how everything goes, right? Anyways, you guys have a great day. One more day till the weekend. Let's get through it. Catch you guys soon. Peace out. Mr. Rude puts happy birthday again, and don't forget,
If she don't hawk to her, we don't talk to her.
Perfect.
Eat shit.